In this session, we shall see about greenhouse effect and global warming, and later we'll also see about ozone depletion in a stratosphere. Now, let's begin with this greenhouse effect and global warming. Here, this term greenhouse effect is derived from a phenomenon that occurs in a greenhouse. So what is this greenhouse? A greenhouse is a one that is constructed using a glass material. So here this is a glass, and this greenhouse is used to provide adequate temperature for certain plants which we need to grow them in winter seasons. So if we happen to grow certain plants in winter seasons but they require certain temperatures to grow normally, right, we have to put those plants in these greenhouses. Okay, so here these are the plants, right, growing inside the greenhouse, and the radiations, the solar radiations coming from the sun, and these radiations will pass through the glass and enter into this greenhouse. As a result, inside this greenhouse it gets heated up. Now whatever that heat generated inside the greenhouse will not be able to escape out from this greenhouse as it is closed, right? So I'll mention here, heat generated inside the greenhouse will not be able to escape out. So it will not be able to escape out, it remains inside. Of course, in this case we do it intentionally to maintain certain heat inside the greenhouse for the growth of those plants. Now such phenomenon is taking place in the earth's atmosphere, and due to presence of certain greenhouse gases, and those greenhouse gases are actually naturally they are present, but now due to human activities we are adding more quantity of those greenhouse gases to the atmosphere, and thereby, okay, resulting in more heat in the earth's atmosphere. So that's what we call it global warming. So the heat present in the atmosphere, the earth's atmosphere, is what it makes the global warming, right? So the greenhouse effect results in global warming. So here you can also take an example that they have given, right, like a car, okay, that is parked under the sun, and if all the doors are completely closed, what happens inside, it gets heated, and the heat present inside will not be able to escape out till you open the doors. Then the heat will be escaping out, and slowly inside it becomes cool, right? Now such situations are actually taking place in earth's atmosphere. So how they are all taking place and all, we shall see those things. Now before I get into the actual mechanism, we see here that this greenhouse effect takes place naturally, right? And this greenhouse effect is necessary for the, okay, sustaining of all the living organisms on this planet. So if this greenhouse effect is not present, then the earth's temperature would be very very cool, and that definitely results in the death of the organisms. Now let's see the some temperatures here, the average temperatures of Earth's surface without greenhouse effect. Then it would be I mean it is at 18 degrees Celsius, I mean minus 18 degrees Celsius. So if there is no greenhouse effect, then the temperatures are very cool, very chilly temperatures. You will see all the temperatures in fact are sub-zero, and it has gone up to minus 18 degrees Celsius. So very, very cool. Now, right, so this is without greenhouse effect, but we have natural greenhouse effect. So the average temperature of Earth's surface with greenhouse effect is at around 15 degrees Celsius. So you can see how different it is. Without the greenhouse effect, the temperatures have gone sub-zero, so gone to minus 18 degrees Celsius. And in this case, okay, in the presence of that is greenhouse effect, the temperatures are around 15 degrees Celsius. Now the point is that these temperatures are going higher. That is what we call it global warming. Now what happens, right? Of course I say that certain temperatures are necessary for the living organisms. It is required for all the living organisms. And now if the temperatures go higher than this, so what will be the consequences? So let us see. Before we understand that, first we shall see the mechanism of greenhouse effect. So let's see. uh, and here I'm mentioning the greenhouse gases. Of course, this is with clouds and gases. So those gases will be like carbon dioxide and methane, which are commonly called greenhouse gases, right? And here is the sun, and from the sun we can see the radiations coming towards the earth. Now whatever that radiations that come from the sun, so those radiations, right, after they come in contact with these clouds and gases, here those radiations, one fourth of incoming solar radiations are reflected, means they will be not entering into the earth's atmosphere. So this is earth's atmosphere, and this is the surface of earth, right? So whatever that solar radiation, so incoming solar radiations, once they come in contact with these clouds, okay, and gases, one fourth of that incoming solar radiations are reflected, and then some of these radiations will be absorbed by the clouds and gases. So here these are radiations which are absorbed by these clouds and, right, gases. So that's what I mentioned here, right? Some proportion of solar radiation is absorbed. Now, right, almost half of the radiations, they finally come and hit the surface of the earth. So here this is almost half of the solar radiations fall on the earth's surface. Now those radiations that fall on the earth's surface are going to heat the earth's surface, because the earth is going to absorb some of those radiations, or hence right, the surface of the earth will get heated up. Now some of these radiations, means here all the radiations will not be absorbed by earth, so some of these radiations will be reflected back, and these radiations reflected back will be in the form of infrared radiations. So here, so earth re-emits the radiations as long waves, and that's I call it IR, that stands for infrared radiations. So it re-emits these, okay, solar radiations in the form of okay, infrared radiations. Now out of that, some may escape into the atmosphere, right, and here some may get absorbed, and major portion may again come back to the earth's surface. So here there are molecules in these greenhouse gases, whatever that molecules in the greenhouse gases, okay, so these molecules radiate the heat energy. So they radiate the heat energy, and then, okay, the major portion of that energy will be again sent back to the earth. Now again the earth absorbs some of this energy, and again it re-emits this back to those, okay, gases, and this, okay, process will uh, right, go on till there will be no infrared radiations to re-emit. Okay, so every time when the radiations come and hit the earth's surface, it results in the heating the earth's, right, surface, and also the atmosphere. So this is what, so as here most of this heat energy is not able to escape out. If these greenhouse gases are present in lesser quantity, then, right, the radiations which are re-emitted will easily pass through these gases, and they will be not, okay, sent back to the earth. That is the natural greenhouse effect. So in this case, the greenhouse gases become more in number in the earth's atmosphere, and they will trap the heat energy that coming from the sun. As a result, the earth's atmosphere and the surface will get heated up, and that's what we call it global warming. Now because of global warming, the temperatures of earth, so the temperatures of earth has increased by 0.6 degrees Celsius, right? So because of that global warming taking place, so our earth's temperature has increased to 0.6 degrees Celsius, and some more points in the increase in the temperature obviously it can create a big problem, right? So what is that? We will shortly see it, okay, right? And this increase by 0.6 degrees Celsius, it all happened just in the last 3 decades. So it all happened. So that zero point 0.6 degrees Celsius rise in the Earth's temperature, it all happened in just last 3 decades. Right now, increase in Earth's temperature can cause odd climatic changes, or it creates an odd climate, right? So example in this case, El Nino effect, right? So this El Nino effect is a warm phase of southern oscillation. So we take it as a warm phase of southern oscillation. Right. At present, I'll not discuss about that El Nino effect in detail. We also have one more, okay, La Nina effect. So we'll see both of them together when we go with our objective, that is NIG. So meanwhile, you can get some information on this El Nino effect, right? So there are certain animations that have been given in YouTube and many other websites, so you can go through them. What actually is this southern oscillation, and also you need to know about the wind pattern, okay? So how the flow of wind takes place, and that wind pattern actually can change these climatic conditions, and it can create odd climatic conditions. So here the Earth's temperature, as I said, if it increases, then it creates certain odd climatic conditions, like this El Nino effect, which is a warm phase of southern oscillation. Now here, increase in the Earth's temperature also results in melting of polar ice caps, and also the snow caps in Himalayas. Now what happens if these ice caps, okay, they melt? Now most of the water, the fresh water, we believe that they have been in the form of ice in the north and south, and even in the Himalayas, okay, right? So we all know that even the Ganga, the Ganges comes and originates from this Himalayas, right? A very big river in India. Now what happens if all that ice melts? Then definitely it will merge with the sea water, and what happens is the sea level rises. So here, melting of the polar ice caps and the snow caps in the Himalayas will result in increasing the sea level. So that results in increasing sea levels. So now what happens if the sea levels increase? Now whatever all those low lying areas, especially those coastal areas, will get submerged. And if the condition is severe, we do not know how much or how much portion of the land will be submerged under the water, right? So that is one problem if the Earth's temperature increase. So we have seen here, okay, two problems. One, it can cause odd climatic conditions, and another one, it can result in melting of ice present at to various places on the Earth. Now to stop it, we need to take certain measures. So what are the measures to control this global warming? So we will see about the measures to control global warming. Now, first point under this is reducing the usage of fossil fuels. So those fossil fuels, which are petrol and diesels, already we have seen in our earlier classes that I said in case of Delhi, right, all those public transport vehicles have been switched from using these fossil fuels to CNG. That considerably reduced the release of, right, certain gases, especially one among them is that carbon dioxide. Okay, and later we will see, right, what is the percentage of different gases. Okay, I'll give an idea on that. So here, when coming to the measures to control the global warming, so first point, reducing the usage of fossil fuels, and then improving efficiency of energy usage, then reducing deforestation, right, and then planting trees. This is afforestation. So okay, and I mean constructing back the forest is what we call afforestation, right? So here deforestation meaning, okay, destroying the forest. It is the plants who actually take lot of carbon dioxide for the process of okay, photosynthesis. But when you destroy the plants, this carbon dioxide that is emitted from these automobiles will remain in the earth's atmosphere, and that is actually causing, okay, the global warming. So hence we have to reduce deforestation and increase, okay, planting. So that is planting trees, and then most importantly is slowing down the growth of human population. So this is very important. Okay, so because as the population is increasing, everyone wants their own vehicle. Okay, so in some families we have at least 3 4 cars and 3 4 motorcycles, right? Each one of them will be using their own vehicles, right? So instead all of them need to use only one vehicle if they have bigger families, instead of using their own. Okay, and that's what here we need to concentrate even on reducing the human population. So these are certain measures that if we take, then definitely we can control the global warming. Let us see here the greenhouse gases. So one, so carbon dioxide, another one methane, another one CFCs, and one more the nitrous oxides, right? Now among them, this carbon dioxide is the major contributor. It accounts 60% of those total greenhouse gases. Then coming in the second place will be the methane that contributes 20%, and then CFCs, which contribute around 14%, and nitrous oxide, which contributes around 6%, right? So among these, this carbon dioxide and methane are commonly known as greenhouse gases, right? Of course, these are also the greenhouse gases, but as these are the one who are contributing the major portion, right, so we have called commonly them as greenhouse gases. The next one we shall see about is ozone depletion in the stratosphere, right? So we know, so ozone whose molecular formula is O3, right? And this ozone is of two types. One, it is bad ozone, and another one is good ozone. So the bad ozone will be formed in the troposphere, so that is present in the troposphere, whereas good ozone is present in the stratosphere, right? So here, if the ozone is present in the troposphere, it can cause several damaging effects on the living organisms. So hence, right, this ozone should not be present in the troposphere. And if that ozone is present in the stratosphere, it has a lot much functions in that stratosphere, okay, like preventing the ultraviolet radiations reaching the earth. So we'll see that all that ozone here. Now I'll give an idea. So here this is earth, and this layer is the troposphere. Above that we have is stratosphere. Now here it is in this stratosphere you may find, okay, I mean you will find the ozone layer, right? Of course, above this stratosphere also we have some other uh, layers, like you'll find mesosphere, then you will find thermosphere, right? And then you may find ionosphere and exosphere also. I'm not mentioning, okay, just so here we need to know that this is the location where we are present, that is in the troposphere. So above that is the stratosphere that has this ozone layer, right? So now let us look at that how this ozone layer is formed, and that formed ozone layer how it's getting depleted. So before I go into it, we'll see a few more points here. So UV rays are harmful to living organisms, right? So these UV rays have high energies. So the high energy present in the UV rays, right, it can break bonds, right? So here this DNA and proteins absorb this UV radiation, and when they absorb this UV radiation, I told you already that these UV radiations have high energy, and that high energy can break the bonds in the DNA and in proteins, thereby causing mutations in DNA or making these proteins non-functional. So I'll mention here, and the high energy present in UV rays breaks the chemical bonds, right? Right now let's look at, so here earth, and this is the ozone layer, right? So how this ozone layer is formed is when the molecular okay, oxygen. So from here, so the plants will be releasing the oxygen, and the oxygen, okay, comes over here, and this oxygen in the presence of UV radiation. So as I said, the UV radiation has high energy. It has that ability to break the chemical bonds. So it breaks that molecular oxygen into oxygen atoms. Now these released oxygen atoms may combine with molecular oxygen and result in the formation of O3. So this is ozone. So this is how the ozone is formed in the in the stratosphere, right? Right, and this formed O3 can again, okay, form back to this molecular oxygen, but there is a balance between the formation of ozone and the degradation of ozone. So what happening here, due to human activities, we are increasing, right, uh, the degradation of ozone layer much. So we shall see that how actually it is taking place. So this is where I have shown you the formation of ozone. The molecular oxygen in the presence of UV radiations break up into the oxygen atoms, and those will react with this molecular oxygen and result in the formation of O3, and that O3 again can form back to molecular oxygen. So there is a balance in between the formation and breakdown. Now here, right, we use certain chemicals called CFCs, so whose full form is chlorofluorocarbons, and these chlorofluorocarbons are used in many home appliances like in refrigerators. So it is used as refrigerants, and also in fire extinguishers and in many other home appliances they may be using these okay, chlorofluorocarbons. Now these CFCs, once they are released into the atmosphere, they go into this stratosphere. So here, so this is stratosphere. Now here, in stratosphere, the ozone layer has a certain thickness, right? So this I show here. So thickness of ozone layer, and that thickness of the ozone layer is measured in Dobson units. In short, we write as a DU, Dobson units. Okay. Now coming back to here, the CFCs which are released from the Earth's surface, right? They move to the stratosphere, and here in this stratosphere, the CFCs in the presence of the ultraviolet radiations. Okay, so we'll see how it actually takes place. We will take CFCl3, okay, due to action of this UV rays, right? It breaks up into CFCl2 plus Cl. So here you see this is the chlorine atoms, right? Now this is the first point here. Now the released chlorine atoms will be reacting with the O3. So in the second point, the chlorine atoms react with O3, and that results in the formation of ClO and O2. So you can see here there is a release of, right, molecular oxygen. Now on the third stage, the ClO will combine with one, okay, oxygen atom. As a result, the chlorine is released and molecular oxygen is also released. Now this free chlorine atom, right, is ready to again react with another O3, and this process will continuously go on. It means that, so if you add certain amount of CFCs to this ozone layer, the effect of those, okay, CFCs will be continuous and permanent. So you cannot, okay, remove these chlorine atoms from that, okay, layer. So there is a continuous effect. Whatever the quantity you go on at, that quantity will remain, okay. So because you can see in this case, these chlorine atoms which have been released again react with the O3, and this reaction will be continuously going on. And as a result, what happens at certain points, say suppose here, the ozone layer thickness decreases. So you can see here the ozone layer thickness decreased. Now this is what I call it a ozone hole. Okay, is a ozone hole. So this point where you find the thickness of the ozone layer is decreased is what I call it a ozone hole. Right, so this is how the ozone hole is formed due to release of certain substances like these chlorofluorocarbons. So this ozone depletion is particularly marked over Antarctic region. Right, and here we see that this ozone depletion, so which I mean the ozone hole, so wherever there is ozone depletion, it results in thinning of the ozone layer, and that is what we call a ozone hole. And this ozone hole, right, over the Antarctica, so the ozone hole over the Antarctica forms every year, right, between late August and early October. Now let us see the effects of UV radiation. So these UV rays are actually of right, some types we'll see here. So this is a UVA rays, UVB rays, and UVC rays. So these UV rays are the one that have longer wavelengths, and the UVB are the one that have shorter wavelengths. Right, now here the radiations of the wavelength shorter than this UVB rays are actually almost absorbed by the Earth's atmosphere. So wavelengths shorter than UVB radiation are almost completely absorbed by Earth's atmosphere. So here it is provided ozone layer is intact. So if it is intact, then the wavelength shorter than this UVB radiation will be completely absorbed by the Earth's atmosphere. So here the UVB rays damage DNA and cause mutations, right? So the UVB rays also cause aging of skin, right? Next, the UVB rays damage skin cells and cause various skin cancers, right? Next, the cornea of a human eye absorbs these UVB rays. So a high dose of UVB radiation can cause inflammation of cornea, and that inflammation of cornea is what we call it snow blindness. So the inflammation of cornea is snow blindness. So I can say here that the inflammation of the cornea is a sunburn eye, or specifically sunburn cornea, right? Next, it also causes cataracts, right? Now, to control ozone depletion, right, an international treaty. So this international treaty, which is known as a Montreal Protocol, known as Montreal Protocol. So it has some set of rules and regulations to be followed by different countries across the world to prevent this ozone depletion. So this was signed at Montreal, located in Canada, in 1987, but it became effective in 1989. Right. So this Montreal Protocol controls the emission of ozone depleting substances. So these are called ODS, which mean ozone depleting substances. One such we have seen chlorofluorocarbons. So whatever that other ozone depleting substances are present, we need to control their emission, thereby preventing this ozone depletion.